I remember
Yeah.
you because you said something really lovely about me on social media, so thank you very much.
Yeah, and I really mean it. I was a huge fan of what you were doing with the character in season one, and I think now you just bring it to a new level. I really love what you're doing with this character. So
Thank you very much,
I'm
man.
so grateful for the opportunity talking to you today.
Amazing.
And yeah, this brings me to my very first question. As Alan, you obviously get to portray a variety of very complex and sometimes bottled up and suppressed feelings and emotions. How,
Mm.
as an actor, are you approaching such a complex role?
Yeah, I think the trick really is two parts, right? I think is to trust the writing and trust the script and just play with the and really allow the words to tell the story. Because I think if you as the actor are trying to put too much into it or too many emotions into it, I think audiences can really read that. They can see that. And I think like you don't want to sort of deceive them or pretend really to a degree. Which kind of leads to that second point of just being truthful and honest. I think in reality and in real life, you never really plan emotions and you never really plan where you're going. You kind of have your history and your context, but you just allow that to sort of kind of infuse and stay with you wherever you go, but you're not always thinking about like, oh, my dad did this, or oh, I'm a sailor. It's just innate, right? So yeah, it's just about essentially putting a lot of trust in the words, in the research that you've done, and then on the day kind of throwing it all away and just hoping that it kind of reads, because again the audience also have their own perception and feeling on you. So you've got to give them room to also play with it. It's a two-way thing, man. So yeah, so that's kind of how I sort of approach it all, which is really cool and fun.
Yeah, so it's again, it's by far my favorite performance this season, and I think those are the hard roles where you can't like really play the emotion the character might feel.
Mm,
It's so a joy to watch you, sort of come to terms with this newfound journey, which brings
amazing.
me to the Battle of the Gullet.
Yeah.
Obviously one of the biggest set pieces of the entire series.
Mm.
What does it mean for Alan?
I think the Battle of the Gullet is both an emotional one in regards to like a mental battle as well as a physical one, right? This is the first time we're sort of seeing Alan in action and sort of being in a place where again he has an advantage in the sense that he's strong at sea, he knows what he's doing, but there's also an element of chaos, right? Because obviously the scene just he's still kind of reeling with his father. He's still trying to understand where his relationship is with his father, so his mind isn't necessarily clear. But the gullet sort of represents, for me personally and how I saw it, as this real internal battle that Alan is having between the idea of accepting who he is as Corliss's son, or even accepting where he is as a seaman, as one of his soldiers. And I think like that is the the ruthless, bloody battle that is going internally within Alan, kind of also seen externally, that is represented through the sort of chaos that is kind of erupting. So yeah, the Gullet was such an incredible sequence to film because it wasn't just about making something really cool and fancy. Like that was almost like a bonus, right? It was more about the emotion of it and about the struggle within it. And I think that was the most fun of it all, was trying to find the story that we were trying to tell through the battle in the sequence, rather than like, okay, and then you move here and then you swing the sword there, it was all about storytelling.
Which is, it brings me to this other question I had. Is there a danger that large-scale fantasy shows become more about spectacle than character sometimes? So, I mean,
I
in this case,
Yeah, that's a good question, honestly, and sorry for interrupting because I think
no worries.
because I'm excited by that because that's a really good question, and I think like the reason why I feel, especially like when it comes to good fantasy and good sci-fi and good sort of large scale spectacle stuff, the reason as to why people love it is because of the family, the turmoil, and the drama. When you see Luke Skywalker fighting Darth Vader, you're not there because it's like the good guy and the bad guy. There's like something more there, right? And I think like even like when it comes to the Battle of the Bastards, like it represents more than just a huge war and two people clashing. It's about it's almost about because you followed this character throughout the story, them trying to prove themselves, trying to find their voice. It becomes about that, and I think like that's when it really means something. And I think audiences are rightfully wanting more of that. They want more of a sense of uh, meaning to the ruthless, like kind of bloodshed and crazy spectacle and fantasy, because we kind of get that in the real life anyway. So why not transport me into somewhere really cool, but also try and almost give me something, like tell me a story while you're doing it. So yeah, I think there is a danger, but I think in the right hands and with the right people and with the right mentality, these battles become mean a lot more rather than necessarily just a really cool thing that you see on TV, you know?
Yeah, which brings me to this next question I had, which is you're obviously a storyteller. You're doing developing and producing games as well with your studio, Surgeon Studio. And I was wondering, what would your ideal a Song of Ice and Fire related game be? How would that look?
Oh, wow. I think for me, I was, I'd probably be really interested in exploring Aegon's conquest. So when they come into obviously into Westeros and sort of go for the seven kingdoms and kind of to align them, I think there's something really really cool there to explore. Just because I think even though there's been a bit of there has been history and everything written in it within within the books as it is. I also think that there is a lot to explore with the idea of alliances and factions and telling that story of how the world of what we know and what we've been watching on TV and reading, how it all came to be. Having the player have some form of influence, and that could be really cool. It's a bit kind of like a bit like a Age of Empires, but I think I would do it or like a Civilization. But I would essentially do it in a way that it's a lot more story driven, a lot more like I'd do it maybe as like a first person, and I wouldn't necessarily just focus just on the Targaryens. I think I would have like part of the story focus on the Targaryens, and then part of the story focus on the people of of one of these kingdoms, of one of these kind of spaces, and like kind of have that diversity there, which would be really cool to kind of play with. So yeah, that's my kind of pitch to Warner
Sounds
Brothers.
amazing. Take my money.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, I just asked this Clinton too. If you had to describe season three with a warning label, what would
Mm.
it say?
Oof. Um, Bring tissues.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, because I mean, it's a lot. It starts off with a bang and it really kind of continues and it just goes. I think it doesn't
Mm.
stop. And yeah, it's a lot. It's such a wild season. It's almost like the writers like kind of heard about what happened, heard like, they did season two and they were like, oh, you think that's enough? Like, let me show you really what we're going for. And they've just not stopped. Every episode feels like something else is kind of erupting here, there, and everywhere. It's a journey. So yeah, that's really I'd say the thing. Bring tissues.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time talking to me today.
Thank
Wish you
you.
nothing but the best and can't wait for more Alan.
Thank you very much. And again, thank you so much for what you shared earlier, man. I really appreciate that. It's nice to be seen. So thank you.